Afternoon, good evening, wherever you're at right now. We've got a new season going, and I'm just running through some things. So last season, I saved some bounties, and I completed them, so like, I got up to level 8. But you can kind of see what we're working with here. New storyline. It's pretty interesting. I'm not going to try to spoil it for anybody that hasn't seen it yet. Check out all your loot here, all the way up to 100. You got some new armor and stuff. Let's see here if I can find it. Should be in here somewhere. Maybe another ornament world, maybe. I don't know, it's somewhere in here, but let me go back here, look at the name. Warmind's Avatar. But I'm definitely running my Warlock Void again right now. Doing my thing with him. Seasons, it should be under here. There you go. You can preview this stuff. Check it out. There's certain armor, I don't know, like, I'm just not a fan of. But depending on what you want to do. This little robe here. So kind of going back to the old school Mars type stuff and everything. I don't want to give too much away, but you see the Warmind armor. And then his bond. It's different. If so, like some of this stuff, if you get good armor rolls and you want it to look a certain way, I've probably gone over this before, but you go here, customize your appearance, right? So like if you want to change your head, click on it. So the name might differ from that's actually that helmet, but you can adjust these to whatever. If you haven't unlocked them, you see some of these are locked, you have to have earned it. And then why is it that I'm just gonna have to click it back? Okay, so I just always like this armor. It's one of my favorite armors to run. I'll show you. You need to go to Ava 1 before I run this stuff. I'll take you from this point, but you can go in from over here as well, which would be faster, but you need to get your little items from her, which all your characters have a cap of like 10 per season. So you can only do so many pieces as well at a time. Just keep that in mind, you know, if you're looking for a certain armor set. Synth cord, I believe is what it is. You turn in your synth cord, you do your bounties from her, which I haven't collected yet, so I'm gonna go do that now. Haven't really been bounty farming, like Banshee, still at, like I should be. Or like I normally do. I've played this since it came out, and it can get kind of dry or stale at times. And they have so much stuff going on right now, like it can get confusing, frustrating, annoying. Especially if you hop into something like Nightfall, higher level, instead of the normal strikes and stuff, and it'll be extremely difficult if you're new to the game and don't have all your armor upgraded. So you would turn in your synth cord here, and that'll give you the little tokens you need or whatever,
Yes.
little cores. So you see here, these are how you get them. Armor synthesis material. So just when you start a season off, whatever, you come in, just grab them, put them in there. She'll consistently change these daily when they reset, so check for your mods. Why is this important? I'm glad you asked.
Perhaps.
So there's a lot of themes with it where you need certain things along the way. And you see I have gold trim around my armor, right? They're going to vary. Weapons are a little bit easier, some of them, but let's see if I have. So like if you go here, this one's not upgraded yet. You can pick your little mod buffs here, whatever you prefer. Got all your mods here you can go through. Like Golden Tricorn, for example, final blows of this weapon grant bonus damage. While this buff is active, grenade or melee kills of the same damage type greatly increase its damage and duration. So this is actually a grenade build I have, so Golden Tricorn is a good mod to have. What this will do is that'll pop up on the left side of your screen when it's active, and it'll have a timer cooldown on it, how long it's going. So if you want to run that combo, something like that, you'll have options here to change. But here, this is where you upgrade your weapon to Masterwork. You use your Legend Shard, it goes all the way up to 10. Once you get to 10, it becomes Masterwork, turns gold. Alright. The exotics, you'll see here, you need the catalyst. Like this one I don't, so I'll show you real quick. It'll go here. So you have to earn the catalyst, alright? Once you get the catalyst for whatever weapon, it'll be down here, and then you have to get so many kills with that specific weapon. And once that goes on, it'll turn to something like this. And that's what the catalysts look like. They're usually black background, gold weapon, and it gives an even more enhanced buff on it. Like this has 2 rounds per magazine, and then you get Wolfpack rounds, which are pretty clutch too. So it just beefs it up and stuff. Certain weapons. So armor, right. Go here. You have to get this energy up to 10. Alright, so this is already there. What I'm going to do is go to something like this. This is going to consistently progress, so you'll be using cores, prisms, and shards. Alright? If you're not sure what those are, go to my inventory. These are your prisms, these little gold crystal looking things. These are your shards. The white ones here are for armor. Prisms, armor. And then your cores, which, there they are. These little gem looking gimmicks here. Enhancement core, prism, shard. These shards are not shards. I mean, I guess alloy it says, but they're basically like a shard. Those are for these weapons here with the little patterns when you unlock them. So if you go here, I went too far. So Triumphs, Patterns, Catalysts, it'll tell you all the weapons that are available for that. So when they drop with a red border, keep an eye out for the pattern it'll say versus Deep Sight Resonance. Let me go to my vault. I think I have some I can show you here. So I do have a pattern weapon. So it'll say pattern here. So you'll see it, this weapon's pattern can be extracted. So you need X patterns to finish, and then you can upgrade with those alloys, right? And then the other ones will say actual deep sight resonance elements that you will also need. So there's a variety of stuff, and I'm going to show you, since I'm in the tower, some of the easier ways to get cores, prisms, and shards, because there is a variety. And what happens is you can get typically cores pretty easy. Breaking weapons down, you're not going to use armor. If you're not sure what it is, you know, kind of hold on to it for a little bit and make sure you want to break it down. But what you need to do is, like, this one's not Masterwork, so the bottom total says 63. And it has the 6 different tiers there. So mobility, resilience, recovery, discipline, intellect, strength. So you're going to get a buff when you Masterwork. See how I kind of got little gold bars there on this piece that's Masterworked, and this one doesn't have them. So when you masterwork it, it's plus 12. Every slot gets plus 2. All right. If it's not on the 10th number anyway, you don't get those buffs. It's basically 50 on the dot. I'll be on the 5th tier. If that was 51 to 59, there is no other buff. It's obsolete, really. Like 49, if my resilience gets plus 1 somewhere, that'll be at the 5th tier. All right. So on and so forth. So keep that in mind when you're gear farming, loot farming. This will give me plus 10 to discipline. Like I said, I pretty much got a grenade build here, so whatever one, they will take different energy slots. You'll max at 10 here. All right. So that takes up 3, that takes up 3, and then I got 3 more there between these two, so that's 9. I got 1 free slot. Ideally, you want to try to max that out, but the different energy types will have different mods available. You know, so kind of sift through and see which ones you might like. But when you masterwork it all the way up, it usually takes a shard per legendary. Exotics will be 3 shards. Let's see if I have something here. So like this is masterworked. It'll go up to like 6, 7. You'll need prisms. Then you'll need or like 7 through 9, and then 10 you'll need a shard. So those are the, and then stasis. So you see these different mods are available. So per the energy type. If you want a different energy type on that piece that drops stasis and you want solar, it costs an upgrade module, so it's not too much. You'll have to empty these and stuff to do it. So make sure if that's what you want. So Banshee will have, along with other vendors, will have stuff like cores here, rank 4. As you level up, break weapons down, the material you need. He's probably the easiest. I would recommend farming through him, and then you go all the way up. Eventually we'll get your shards and your alloy. And this will change once you hit that, and then you can reset some vendors, things like that, and then your gear will rotate and actually should be increased. So like Crucible, Lord Shax. See, I got some stuff here to collect, so I'll collect them. You'll see I'll add, but he has prisms available at rank 10, a shard, and some of these. And then you see different weapons you can attain as well if you want something specific. Alright, so basically, Savala over here is strikes. I'm going to go over this specifically because bounties will get you loot. Precision is basically headshots. Shotgun, super kills. Weakness and suppression, that's going to be in your different build, but it'll tell you with Void specifically. These are random, so whatever they are, you know, they'll show up. So you can get up to 5, and that will reset. Like, you can get as many of those as soon as you finish them, the 5, and then however many you finish, you can just recharge if you want to run strikes consistently. So make sure you're filling up on bounties to get XP and stuff like that. But you see he's got Prism and Cores. So most of these will have the items you need to upgrade and masterwork your gear and weapons. So go to your map, you get those, and then your like bounties will show up here, and then you'll see that's a Vanguard bounty versus like if you do daily, it'll say daily, but it's finisher, void, damage, strikes, Vanguard plays, defeat hive, specifically certain enemy, melee kills, and bow. And if some of these you don't want them, I recommend trying to utilize them. Otherwise you can break it down and abandon and go run another random, and it'll change to something different. But again, it's random. So these are your 3 here. Drifter is down by 801 where we just were, but Crucible, Gambit, Vanguard, these will always be some of your simpler things to run, because you don't even need wins in PvP stuff. You just need to finish them, complete them. Select Vanguard. You'll have your basic strikes, and it will tell you that's Pinnacle gear. Alright, Arc Singe. Look at the mods here. You'll get your gear out of there and loot. And then here is really where you can farm prisms and shards. Just because when you come here, it actually tells you it'll go from uncommon on adept, which switch to hero. You don't even have to click on it, but if you scan it, highlight it, right, it'll change. So it tells you, as you see the higher tiers come, you get more consistent higher loot, which it gets tougher when you don't have all your stuff masterworked and get your build set up. So you don't really have to focus. I mean, you can't do Grandmaster right now, but you can go all the way to Master, and then you'll have your buffs. You got to see, like, so Barrier and Unstoppable, right? Well, what is that? How do I get it? Well, glad you asked, right? We'll go back. Every season, you'll notice you'll have these little artifacts when you run your campaign that'll be unlocked. Once you unlock them, this first row is what you want to focus on first, typically, because this is what you need, Unstoppable Hand Cannon. So you have to use a hand cannon to have unstoppable rounds up until, like, the grenade launcher. If you're like me, I really like Wither Horde consistently. Sometimes you'll see there should be grenades here, some sort of grenade. Where's it at? Which one is it? That'll actually, grenades can stun specific type. So, Stasis and Arc melee abilities stun unshielded combatants, strong against unstoppable champions. So you have various buffs like that if you don't want to use a hand cannon that you can eventually unlock. But like this one will take up 7 slots and an armor piece. This one's a little bit lower 1. And if you're running Stasis or Arc, you know, it would be in your interest to obviously run that maybe, but Overload, Pearson, so that's basically Barrier Pulse, and Overload. So in the Nightfalls, when you get to those higher tiers, you're going to see, like, wrong way here. You're going to see your mods you need, and you essentially want to match it. So, Barrier, Unstoppable. If you don't have those, like, the Barrier is the biggest one you want to worry about, because he'll pop a little shield up. And not only is it a shield that only Barrier can break through and do damage and stun him on, he will recharge his life. So the higher you go, if you're not dishing out damage consistently and have people with the right weapons, it won't break that. So it's just going to sit there and keep, reviving himself, recharging his life. And then, like, dealing damage with a solar weapon now applies Scorch to your targets. So you'll have a solar buff, but also in these Nightfalls, you're going to see they'll have certain energy types, like shields, that you need to take into consideration too. Like if you hit Legend, shielded foes. So you'll see Arc and Void. So you want to make sure you can apply those types of weapons in your loadout. So like if it was Barrier, it would be, Pulse Rifle, Anti-Barrier, and then Hand Cannon for your Unstoppable. And what you do is, once you go here, and you've unlocked these, right? They don't just automatically apply. You'll have to go to your arms here and apply them. So I'll have to take this mod off and actually apply these buffs to my armor build to run it, which I'm going to go back to my grenade for now because I'm not going to run that right now. But you'll see your various weapons, and then the energy type, so that's Arc. So I would need like a Void right there at the top of it. It's purple, Void's purple, Arc's blue, Solar is red. You'll see the little flame. And then Stasis, I don't know if I even have any Stasis, but it'll be the blue little crystal, like a dark blue. There it is. So a little dark blue Stasis crystal. And then Deep Sight Resonance. So this is one of the weapons I was talking about earlier. You get your little, like, items for that. This is one, your Resonant Alloy. Where's the other one at? I don't see it. Unless I'm blind. But basically get your little material or whatever, for that. So that Deep Sight, Resonance will come in handy for the loot. So once that attunement progress is done and you break it down, you'll get your loot out of it. If it's a pattern, you'll get it anyway, but you might not want to break down your pattern weapon until you finish. It might be a good roll, something like that. That's going to be subjective to what, you might want to do. This is not 80, so I'm going to upgrade. Because I have a couple different builds for my energy types. That's my solar exotic I was running. And then I use Crown of Tempest for arc. And if you go in here and you're like newer, you're not sure about this stuff, you get all these different buffs with your element type. You can pick your super. It can be different. You know, I like the Cataclysm, Slova Bomb. But you'll have fragments you can add. And you see, like, I'll get 10 intellect for that one. They're all going to have various buffs. Some of them might give you a buff and you'll lose strength, which is like, wait a minute, I don't want negative strength. But that buff might actually, in fact, be better for the build you have, right? And then these, you'll see fragment slots with these buffs on your aspects. There's going to be a couple here to choose from usually. And then I have two that have, one has 2 slots, one has 1, so I've only got my 3 fragments. But if you look at this other one, it'll have 2 as well. So if you like those buffs and you want to run them, you'll have 4 fragment slots. You can buff your build even further, right? So kind of depending on how you like, and if you're, you know, showing up fresh, you're not set up yet, the way you would acquire those is you're in the tower here. Go ahead and reiterate this so anybody's showing up now. This right here. So you'd be in the tower, and you'll go this way. So it's down to the right, and you just run down here. So there's multiple vendors. If you open your little map, you can kind of see like all these little symbols are different vendors. We're gonna go to Ikora right here. Come talk to her.
Welcome.
I've already got all mine unlocked, but basically you'd go here, you'd open, and this is where you'd basically unlock them. So like aspects and fragments, open this. They will cost you a little bit of glimmer, which, you know, you can focus on buffs that sound good to you or whatever, you know, but back out. Once you're done with that, they'll tell you to meditate. You would come right here to meditate. It did this little gimmick. And once you meditate, you have them.
Excuse me.
You'll go ahead and come in.
Someone else.
You go here, and it'll show up. So if you don't have them, they're all unlocked. Not unlocked yet or whatever. That's how you would run it. But too easy, simple, effective. It might take you some time, but if you don't want to run super sweaty stuff, I mean, you can go to different areas in the world here. Like EDZ is a good one. You can run here, and then you'll see these public events is good for little like farming stuff like that, glimmer. But if you go to your character and go here, you'll notice there's glimmer buffs you can put on, XP, strike, better loot, more loot, chances. But that's how to upgrade your stuff, your supers, class builds, armor. You see some of these will actually go up to like 88. That's good where you want to be. So if you're not sure, when they roll, they'll be like mid to high 60s is always a good starting point. 63 will end up, that's plus 12, so that's 75. Plus 10 would be 85 max. And the way I did that math is if you go in, once you masterwork it all the way, remember everything gets plus 2 for just this piece. And then if you do a buff on it, which would be here, you can do 5, which is cheaper, but I recommend the higher ones, plus 10, because you know you're going to get that tier. And then that'll show you, you know, you can change the color and stuff like that, but that'll give you the extra time buffs and stuff like that. So definitely good to do. And, you know, it can be grenade build. This will show you here if you highlight this, you know, how much you have percentage wise or tiers. So like it says 105 out of 100, but it stops at 100. So those 5 you can farm a piece that's like similar, and then I could lose 5 recovery somewhere. So that could be 23 recovery, and those 5 could be put somewhere in those different slots, which is a little bit harder to grind out and farm that type of armor, like a really specific build, but you can do damage resistance and stuff, but I kind of just went with certain ones because I was trying to ammo and see how much more damage I do take, which was a pretty substantial amount. Resilience ain't gonna matter. So this is usually good to run. This will probably change to your more artifact mod applications, so I'm gonna go ahead and do long range, and actually, yeah, let me do long range, and then, so I got area of effect, which I'm losing slots here for now, but like I said, once your artifact goes up, I can probably put some more different mods on and stuff that might be more effective, but hope this helps. Have fun, keep grinding. Till next time, like, subscribe, share, comment.